So, welcome to our lazy RV kitchen in my house. So we are prepping for our Disney World Fort Wilderness trip. So we are starting today with a chicken, broccoli, and rice casserole. Now, it's really just a one-pot meal. You just put it in a casserole dish and freeze it. So we've got some cooked chicken. So we got about 2 cups of cooked chicken, 1 bag of thawed broccoli florets, 2 cups rice, chicken stock. We've got our Rotel, a can of green chilies. We have some cheddar condensed soup. And then we're going to have our garlic powder, some adobo seasoning, a little bit of ranch, and then my personal favorites. We're going to kick it up a notch with some Nashville Hot Chicken. So if you are not a spicy person, you don't need to add this, but it'll be just fine without it. But I like a little more heat with my food, so I'm going to add this to our meal. So let's get started. Okay. So I have cooked my chicken. Hold on, waiting for the cameraman to move. So I've cooked my chicken. Now I'm just adding my 2 cups of rice. So one of the things that I like to do when I'm cooking rice is I like to give it a little toast in the same liquid oil fat that I cooked the chicken. So we're gonna let that toast up just a little bit. It also helps us kind of marry the flavors together. So while that toasts, I'm gonna grab my cans of Rotel. Now when you're cooking rice, the ratio is typically 2 to 1. So 2 cups liquid to 1 cup rice. It's typically what your measurements are going to be. So I'm adding 2 cans of Rotel, and each time I'm just going to mix the rice and the chicken together. They're just gonna get happy. If you want to start breaking up the chicken a little bit, you can. It's not going to hurt the dish if the chicken is not in big pieces. It will be fine. So we're just going to let that get all absorb the tomato juices. Next, I'm going to take my cream of cheddar cheese soup. It's a lot stronger than it looks. And I'm going to put that in with my rice. Whoops! Do not include the lid when you're cooking. It's fine. Now, so I said it was a 2 to 1 ratio. So I'm going to take my chicken stock. This is 32 ounces. 8 times 4 is 32. Now I'm going to add some to this can so I can get the rest of that kind of cheddary yumminess out. And then I'm going to add our stock. A little bit, and we're going to stir it up because you want that condensed cheddar cheese soup to combine. Okay, we're kind of just waiting for it. We're waiting. Come on. We're going to combine very nicely. There we go. Okay. All right, once you've got that combined, I'm going to start adding some of my spices. So I'm going to add tablespoon of my garlic powder-ish. Now with this one, with my Nashville Hot Chicken, I've got some people who are a little on the milder side. So I'm just going to add about a tablespoon of my Nashville Hot Chicken. I'm going to grab my adobo seasoning, about a tablespoon. And I'm going to grab my ranch seasoning. Give it a good shake. And add about a teaspoon of ranch seasoning. And then we're just going to give it a little stir. Let everybody get in. And you can always put in more seasoning or less, but it's easier to put more in than to take out. And also another thing with your spices, make sure that you check the top before you start dumping the spice in, because sometimes they flow a little faster than you think. I think they do that at the grocery store just to kind of, or at the spice plant, just to see who's watching. Because sometimes I swear, the chili powder, the cayenne powder, everything just comes out faster. All right. So now I'm going to finish adding our stock. Now I'm using a reduced sodium stock, mainly because your condensed soups will have a lot of salt in them, so there's no need to add more. I'm going to take this defrosted broccoli, I'm going to put that in there so it gets happy. Woo, broccoli! Woo! The broccoli is very excited to be in the pool. Okay. And then last but certainly not least is our green chilies. One good thing if you are thinking about adding specific spices or items to be cooking in your camper is to get stuff that has a similar flavor profile. So I like Tex-Mex flavors, I like chilies, so I tend to have a lot of Rotel green chilies, enchilada sauce on hand. All right, so we're going to stir that all together. And we're going to let it come to a boil and then let it drop the temperature down to a simmer, and basically we're just waiting for the rice to cook. Let's see. Okay, so what kind of sauce do you want for the barbecue? You're recording? And once it's done cooking, it'll look something like this. Now there is a little bit of liquid left over, and that's fine because when it cools down to room temperature, you can then put it in your freezing container. And when you bake it, the rest of the liquid will get absorbed into the rice and vegetables. Now, when you bake it off, I suggest topping it with some cheddar cheese to go with that cheese soup that we put in. And if you try it, let me know what you think.
So good morning. We're here at Disney at Fort Wilderness. Everybody's still sleeping in my camper, so I thought I'd show you around a little bit, give you an idea of what it looks like. We have one of the larger little spaced out sites from a lot of them. I've seen some that are really close together. Yes, the camper's dirty. I need to wash it. Also looks like if it rained enough, we could have a lake back here. One thing to point out, at least that we ran into, is the electrical connector and the cable connector are way at the back of the site. So if your electrical plugs in at the front of your camper, like ours did, we had to back up and almost go to the very end of the concrete so the cable would reach. But it's a nice site. Like I said, we have a good bit of space for the camper and the truck. And it's sometime around 8 o'clock on Sunday morning, Easter Sunday. So it's kind of quiet still. And we're in site 1731. We have the bathroom right across from us. Pretty nice. Alright, so after a long day in the parks, we're getting the benefit of all our work we did beforehand. We're just going to take this, shovel it on a plate, stick it in the microwave for a couple minutes, and then we have dinner. Already, easy peasy. And there it is. All ready to eat.